The sky was once a living tapestry of divine voices. For thousands of years, cultures around the world described celestial messengers descending from the clouds. These winged beings delivered prophecies, shaped civilizations, and whispered secrets between worlds. By the end of this journey, you will know the stories of 20 legendary sky beings and the hidden patterns that connect them across continents. We will uncover why a golden eagle served a powerful god, and what haunting song could make people forget their own sorrows. What part of the sky's ancient mystery calls out to you most? Golden feathers catch the light like living fire, and a wingspan vast enough to cast the world into momentary shadow. This is Garuda, the king of birds, a being both man and eagle, whose very form speaks of impossible power. In the ancient stories of Hinduism and Buddhism, he is far more than a simple beast of the skies. He is the chosen mount of the great god Vishnu, a divine messenger who carries the prayers of humanity upward and brings the blessings of the gods back down. He is the ultimate intermediary, a bridge between our world and the realm of the eternal. One of his most famous legends, found in texts like the Mahabharata, tells of his daring quest to retrieve the elixir of immortality, a mission that cemented his connection to the very cycles of life and death. His feathers are believed to hold healing properties, and to this day, his image is invoked for protection and spiritual freedom. Across Southeast Asia, his form is etched into national emblems, a timeless symbol of strength, loyalty, and the unshakable order of the cosmos. Why would such a magnificent, nearly all-powerful being be given the role of a messenger? Perhaps because the messages carried between heaven and earth were considered the most vital force in the universe, requiring a guardian of absolute virtue and unimaginable strength. From this pinnacle of divine service, our journey descends into the turbulent skies of ancient Greece, where a very different kind of messenger awaited her fate. The swift, youthful god Hermes moves with a speed that defies the very air, his winged sandals a blur as he crosses from the golden halls of Olympus to the shadowed paths of the mortal realm. As the official messenger of the Greek gods, his duties were vast and vital. He carried the unchangeable decrees of Zeus, guided departed souls to their resting place in the underworld, and served as the essential link between all cosmic domains. The Homeric hymns praise his clever mind and silver tongue, gifts that also made him the protector of everyone who journeyed, traded, or spoke for a living. His most famous symbol, the caduceus, is a staff elegantly entwined with two serpents. This was not a symbol of war, but of peaceful dialogue and healing, showing how his role was to resolve conflict and convey harmony. Yet his influence went beyond mere messages. In one celebrated story, he invented the lyre from a simple tortoise shell, gifting humanity with music itself. He taught the art of interpretation, showing that a divine messenger often brings the seeds of culture and innovation along with words. Does the image of this fleet-footed deity reflect a deeper human longing for immediate, clear connection with the powers above? His legendary agility finds a startling echo in the frozen winds of the Norse cosmos, where another being was defined by his impossible speed. Two ravens dark as polished jet take flight each dawn from the shoulders of a one-eyed god. Their names are Huginn and Muninn, thought and memory, and their daily journey spans the entirety of the 9 worlds. They are not mere pets or simple scouts for the Allfather Odin. They are living extensions of his consciousness, across the frost giants' realms, through the lands of humanity, and over the battlefields of fallen warriors they saw, their sharp eyes missing nothing. Every evening they return to him, perching once more upon his shoulders to whisper all they have seen and heard directly into his ear. This daily ritual, described in the ancient poetic Edda, is the very source of Odin's immense wisdom. He does not just receive reports, he absorbs the raw data of existence, processed through the distinct faculties of thought and memory. What good is one without the other? Thought analyzes the present, but memory gives it context from the past, creating the foresight needed to shape the future. For the Vikings who told these stories, the raven was a powerful omen. Their flight patterns before a battle could predict its outcome, and their presence on a long sea voyage was a sign of divine guidance. It is a profound concept that the ultimate messenger for the ruler of the gods is not a majestic eagle or a swift deity, but a pair of clever, observant birds. This suggests that true power lies not in brute force, but in the relentless, daily pursuit of knowledge and the wisdom to interpret what is gathered. From this intellectual partnership of dark wings, we turn to a messenger whose voice was considered more powerful than any weapon, a being of pure, captivating sound. A creature of pure flame, radiant in gold and crimson, does not simply die. It completes a cycle, and from its own ashes it is born again, more brilliant than before. This is the phoenix, a sky being whose very existence is a message. Across civilizations, from the sun-baked sands of Egypt to the philosophical courts of China, this legendary bird served as a herald not of words, but of cosmic renewal. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus recorded tales of its miraculous arrival in Egypt every 500 years, a living embodiment of the sun's own journey, which dies in the evening flames of the horizon only to be reborn with each dawn. Its arrival was a divine announcement that a great age had turned, that the universe itself was refreshing its story. In Chinese tradition, the Feng Huang is a majestic composite creature, its body uniting the forms of several animals into a single symbol of perfect harmony and supreme virtue. It did not carry scrolls or speak prophecies. Its mere appearance was the message, an omen that a truly righteous and benevolent ruler had ascended, bringing an era of peace and balance to the world. Its cry was said to be a perfect melody, harmonizing the 5 sacred notes of the ancient musical scale, and in that sound, the very elements of creation found their equilibrium. What profound human longing does this immortal messenger represent? It is the hope that endings are never final, that loss can give way to rebirth, and that the soul itself might transcend the confines of a single lifetime. The phoenix assures us that destruction is merely a prelude to creation. From this celestial promise of cyclical renewal, we are drawn toward a messenger of raw, untamed power, one whose voice is not a harmonious song, but the roaring thunder that precedes the storm. The very sky can split with a sound felt deep in the bones, a clap of thunder that is not a random crash but the beating of vast celestial wings. This is the Thunderbird, a being of immense power whose dominion over the storms is an essential form of communication. Across many indigenous North American traditions, from the Algonquian peoples to the Lakota, this colossal bird is far more than a weather phenomenon. It is a sacred messenger of the Great Spirit, a mediator who controls the life-giving rains and cleanses the world with its flashing eyes of lightning. Its role is one of profound balance, a protector of humanity who is often depicted in legendary battles against malevolent, serpentine water spirits, ensuring that the forces of chaos do not overwhelm the natural order. When the Thunderbird appears, its presence is a signal of great importance, marking a shift in seasons, the arrival of a spiritual revelation, or a necessary correction in the world. Its feathers are not merely beautiful, they are considered sacred objects, vessels of immense power and connection. This formidable nature answers a deep human question. Why do so many cultures link their mightiest sky beings to the raw power of the atmosphere? Because thunder and lightning are the most direct, undeniable evidence of a force greater than ourselves, a voice from the heavens that commands immediate attention and respect. The Thunderbird embodies the idea that a true messenger must sometimes wield immense power to deliver its vital truths, a concept of benevolent strength that stands in stark contrast to the gentle, almost silent guidance of our next celestial envoy. But the message is not always carried on the wings of a storm. Sometimes it arrives in a gentle whisper of light, a presence both comforting and awe-inspiring. In the Abrahamic traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, angels are the ultimate embodiment of this serene yet powerful communication. They are described as beings of pure spirit and radiance, often appearing with magnificent wings not for flight in our atmosphere, but as a symbol of their celestial nature and their role as intermediaries. An angel's primary duty is to be a messenger, a direct conduit for the divine will. The Archangel Gabriel, for instance, appears in both the Bible and the Quran as the herald of monumental news, announcing the births of John the Baptist and Jesus to astonished listeners. Another, Michael, is often depicted as a warrior angel, a protector who leads the forces of heaven in a cosmic struggle against darkness, executing a form of divine justice. Raphael's role is one of healing and guidance, accompanying individuals on perilous journeys and offering solace. These are not distant, impersonal forces. Theological writings emphasize that they operate with perfect obedience and clarity, bridging the seemingly infinite gap between the eternal and the human. They deliver prophecies that shape history, offer protection to the vulnerable, and provide comfort to those in moments of profound hardship. In countless works of art and literature, the image of an angel has become a universal symbol of hope, purity, and the profound possibility that the sacred can directly interact with our world. How does the belief in such benevolent guides shape personal faith? It suggests that no one is truly alone, that divine messages are not abstract concepts but can be delivered with intention and compassion. This vision of a wise and protective celestial intermediary finds a fascinating parallel in a messenger revered not for its power, but for its almost impossible longevity. A creature of such immense age and wisdom sees the rise and fall of empires as mere seasons. In the heart of Persian mythology, atop the legendary tree of knowledge, resides the Simurgh. This is no ordinary bird, but a magnificent composite being with the head of a dog symbolizing loyalty, the claws of a lion representing courage, and a glorious peacock's tail embodying beauty and integrity. Its vast wings, capable of carrying an elephant, are said to cast a shadow of blessings. The Simurgh is the ultimate mentor and protector, a messenger whose words are not simple announcements but deep, ethical teachings. In the epic Shahnameh, the Book of Kings, the Simurgh raises the abandoned hero Zal, nursing him to health and imparting ancient wisdom that would guide his entire lineage. It does not merely deliver a message, it nurtures the very person who must understand it, gifting a single, magical feather that Zal could burn to summon its aid in a moment of ultimate need. Its feathers are believed to hold powerful healing properties, and its flight is carefully studied as a divine omen, offering guidance to rulers and warriors alike. Why would a messenger need the combined traits of so many noble creatures? The Simurgh's very form is its message, a living symbol that true wisdom and effective guidance require a unity of virtues, blending strength with compassion, loyalty with foresight. It teaches that the most profound messages are not just heard, but are meant to foster growth and transformation in those who receive them. This majestic, nurturing guide stands in stark contrast to the next celestial envoy, a messenger defined not by vast knowledge, but by its breathtaking, unwavering speed. From the nurturing wisdom of the Simurgh, we shift to a messenger defined by pure, untamed grace. A single beat of its immense, feathered wings creates a wind that carries the scent of rain and high, thin air. This is Pegasus, the winged horse of Greek mythology, a being whose very origin is a story of profound transformation. He was not born in the usual way, but sprang forth from the blood of the Gorgon Medusa, a creature of stone and terror, when the hero Perseus completed his legendary task. From an ending of monstrous conflict came a being of breathtaking beauty and freedom. This miraculous birth immediately established his role as a bridge between states of being, a living symbol that even from great hardship, wondrous new possibilities can emerge. His most famous partnership was with the hero Bellerophon, whom he carried on a quest to defeat the monstrous chimera. Without Pegasus, such a journey would have been impossible, a clear illustration of his function as an enabler of heroic communication, carrying a mortal champion to a place where he could confront a divine-level threat. But his service did not end there. In his later years, Pegasus served Zeus, king of the gods, directly. He became the bearer of the god's lightning bolts, a soaring conduit for the most powerful and immediate expression of divine will. With a strike of his powerful hoof, he was said to create springs of fresh, life-giving water, linking him not just to the sky but to the essential, nourishing forces of the earth itself. Why would a winged horse capture our imagination as a messenger more effectively than a humanoid figure? Its form speaks of a different kind of connection. A horse represents loyal service and journeying, while wings symbolize ascent and freedom. Combined, they create the perfect embodiment of a message delivered with both unwavering loyalty and transcendent speed, a creature that operates in a realm between the grounded and the celestial. His enduring image in art and heraldry is a testament to this powerful combination of strength and liberty. The graceful agility of Pegasus, however, sets the stage for a messenger known for a far more unpredictable and clever nature. A long-nosed figure watches from the shadows of an ancient cedar. It features a strange fusion of human and crow. This is the Tengu, a being whose very presence defies simple classification. In the deep mountain forests of Japan, these winged messengers were not always seen as benevolent guides. Early Shinto and Buddhist texts often portrayed them as disruptive demons, bringers of conflict and pride who could lead the arrogant astray. Yet over centuries, their role transformed profoundly, evolving from chaotic tricksters into revered protectors of sacred teachings and the natural world. They became the stern, unforgiving masters of martial arts, appearing in the dreams of samurai to test their technique or in the paths of monks to challenge the purity of their devotion. A Tengu does not simply deliver a message, it forces a confrontation, often with one's own inner flaws. They communicate through the sudden, unsettling rustle of wind in a still forest, or through an unexpected challenge high on a mountain trail, offering a warning that is also a test of character. How does a messenger that tests and tricks its recipients contribute to personal growth? The answer lies in their complex nature. By presenting obstacles and exposing vanity, the Tengu pushes an individual toward self-reliance and humility, refining raw skill into true wisdom. Their legendary mastery of the sword was not a gift they gave, but a skill they forced warriors to earn through relentless spiritual and physical trial. This dual role as both helper and provocateur reveals a profound truth about celestial communication. Some messages are not meant to be comforting, but to spark a necessary transformation, challenging us to think critically and grow stronger. The Tengu's ambiguous guidance, balancing disruption with protection, prepares us to encounter a messenger whose entire purpose is the unshakable maintenance of cosmic justice. Its shadow alone could eclipse a ship, a darkness falling not from clouds but from wings of impossible scale. This is the Roc, a legendary bird from the tales of 1001 Nights and Persian folklore, a being so vast it feeds its young with elephants plucked from the earth. Far more than a simple monster, the Roc served as a direct messenger of fate and cosmic retribution. Its sudden appearance in a story often signaled a divine intervention, a correction in the moral order where the virtuous might be rescued from a desert isle and the wicked swept away by a tempest of its own making. The sheer, overwhelming force of its presence was the message itself, a humbling reminder of the natural and supernatural laws that govern all existence, placing human ambition firmly within a grander, more powerful framework. For sailors navigating by the stars, a sighting of the rock was terrifying, yet it also served as a crucial omen. Its flight patterns could point toward unseen land, guiding lost vessels to safety, or hint at the location of hidden treasures, making it an ambiguous guide of both peril and providence. What does such a fearsome portrayal reveal about cultural views of justice? It suggests that divine law was not always seen as gentle or negotiable, but as an immense, impartial force that commands respect through its sheer, undeniable power. The rock embodies the idea that some truths are too vast to be whispered. They must be carried on a wind that shakes the world. From this colossal envoy of fate, we turn toward a messenger whose brilliance is tied not to raw power, but to the life-giving fire of the sun itself. A solitary cry echoes across the primordial waters, a sound that parts the mist and calls forth the first light. This is the Bennu bird, the ancient Egyptian heron of the sun, a being whose very existence was a declaration of a new beginning. Long before the phoenix graced Greek tales, this radiant messenger was intrinsically tied to the god Ra, serving as his living herald and the embodiment of his daily rebirth. It was said to rise from the fiery heart of the temple's sacred Persi tree, or in some accounts from the ashes of its own predecessor, completing a perfect, eternal cycle. Its most sacred perch was the Benben stone, the first land to emerge from the cosmic ocean, the very point from which all creation unfolded. The cry of the Bennu was not just a sound, it was an event. It marked the pivotal moment of the sun's renewal at dawn, and on a grander scale, it heralded the completion of the great celestial year, the turning of ages. This direct link to the calendar made the Bennu a messenger of intensely practical importance. Its annual appearance synchronized with the Nile's life-giving flood, an event that dictated the rhythm of planting, growth, and harvest for the entire civilization. The promise of the Bennu was the promise of the river's return, of the soil's renewed fertility, and of life itself continuing unabated. How might a bird that heralds the new year shape a society's understanding of destiny? It wove the concept of eternal return into the very fabric of daily life. For both pharaoh and farmer, the Bennu communicated that the soul, like the sun and the river, was part of an unending cycle of departure and homecoming, loss and glorious restoration. This profound connection to a life-giving star finds a powerful, parallel devotion in the radiant messengers of a different sun-drenched civilization. A serpent adorned with the brilliant green feathers of the Quetzal bird moves with the grace of wind itself. This is the feathered serpent, known to the Aztecs as Quetzalcoatl and to the Maya as Kukulkan, a being whose very form is a profound message. It unites the snake, a creature of the earth, with the bird, a master of the sky, symbolizing a sacred bridge between the physical world and the spiritual heavens. This was not a messenger who simply delivered words, but one who delivered civilization itself. Ancient myths recount how it descended to humanity, bringing the essential knowledge of cultivating maize, the complex calculations of the calendar, and the foundational arts of writing and culture. Its guidance was the cornerstone upon which societies were built, transforming wandering groups into thriving, structured civilizations. Why would such a hybrid creature be the perfect symbol for this role? The earth-bound snake represents practical wisdom and the cycles of nature, while the sky-soaring bird embodies divine inspiration and foresight. Together, they illustrate that true innovation and cultural transmission require both grounded knowledge and visionary thought. This integration is immortalized in stone at places like the Grand Pyramid of Chichen Itza, where during the equinoxes, a play of light and shadow creates the illusion of a massive serpent slithering down the temple steps. This architectural marvel was not just a temple, but a colossal calendar and a testament to the celestial messenger's enduring influence. The feathered serpent's legacy is one of synthesis, teaching that progress emerges from the harmonious blending of opposing forces. This transformative role, guiding humanity through knowledge, sets the stage for a messenger whose power lay not in building civilizations, but in revealing the hidden threads of destiny itself. Their feathers were not soft down but sharpened bronze, a flock of living weapons haunting a desolate marsh. The Stymphalian birds were no gentle heralds, but agents of divine punishment sent by the gods to plague the region of Stymphalia. They did not sing but shrieked, and their most terrifying feature was their ability to launch their own metallic feathers like volleys of deadly arrows from the sky. This was a message written in violence, a clear sign of celestial displeasure that transformed a once hospitable land into a place of fear and isolation. Their role as messengers was one of retribution and chaos, a stark reminder that communication from the heavens is not always benevolent. Some scholars interpret these fearsome creatures as ancient symbols for the destructive power of gossip and slander, showing how words, once launched, can take on a life of their own, wounding communities and poisoning trust from within. Their story forces us to confront a difficult truth. Not all celestial envoys bring comfort or guidance. Some deliver warnings that demand immediate action and immense courage. It was the hero Hercules, in one of his famed labors, who finally drove the birds from their swamp, using a pair of loud bronze rattles to startle them into flight so he could strike them down. What lessons can be drawn from a messenger that embodies pure threat? They teach that some messages are meant to be challenges, trials that test our resolve and compel us to restore balance in the face of overwhelming disorder. The chaotic, violent nature of the Stymphalian birds stands in dramatic opposition to the next sky being, a messenger whose entire purpose was the precise and orderly maintenance of cosmic law. The clamor of battle fades, replaced by the rhythmic beat of wings against a storm-racked sky. These are not the wings of birds, but of majestic horses, ridden by the Valkyries, warrior maidens who serve as Odin's hands and eyes upon the earthly plane. Their very name means choosers of the slain, a title that carries immense weight and solemn duty. In the great Norse epics, they are far more than ethereal spirits. They are powerful, active participants in the drama of human conflict. Clad in gleaming armor and wielding spears, they descend upon the fog of war not to fight, but to observe and to make the ultimate selection. With an unerring gaze, they determine which fallen warriors have earned a place of honor in the great hall of Valhalla, where they will feast and prepare for the final battle of Ragnarok. This role makes them psychopomps, guides for the soul, but their function extends beyond the moment of passing. They are divine messengers of fate and honor, their decisions directly communicating the will of the All-Father. Their interventions are not always passive. Sometimes they are described as subtly influencing the tide of battle, ensuring that the destined outcome comes to pass. Why would such formidable power be given to female figures in a mythology often dominated by gods like Odin and Thor? The Valkyries present a powerful challenge to narrow gender roles, portraying strength, judgment, and divine authority as inherently feminine qualities. They are fierce, yet the stories often highlight a deep, unexpected compassion, as when the Valkyrie Brynhilde defies Odin to protect a hero she loves, facing profound consequences for her choice. Their appearances in the dreams of warriors or on the edges of a battlefield reinforced a core Norse belief in a destiny woven before birth, and that a courageous end was not a tragedy, but a glorious transition to a higher purpose. They teach that some messengers do not just report on destiny, they actively shape it through their discerning choices. This potent image of a guiding, decisive presence in the sky finds a stark contrast in a messenger defined not by action, but by its profound and unsettling quiet. Its plumage weaves together the elegance of 5 noble creatures, a living tapestry of pheasant, duck, and peacock. The Hau, Japan's divine phoenix, does not arrive with storm or fury, but descends only when the land itself breathes with peace and virtue. This celestial messenger is the ultimate barometer of a society's health, appearing solely to announce the reign of a benevolent ruler or the dawn of a golden age. Its rare sightings are not just good luck, they are profound validations of imperial legitimacy and ethical governance. The very song of the Hau is a harmonic code, said to embody the 5 core Confucian virtues of righteousness, propriety, wisdom, faithfulness, and benevolence. In classical art, it is frequently depicted alongside the Kirin, a mythical beast of pure goodness. Together, they form a perfect visual representation of yin and yang, the essential balance of cosmic forces. Why would a culture so closely tie a specific bird to the right to lead? The Hau's presence communicated that a ruler's power was not merely inherited or seized, but earned through moral conduct and the resulting prosperity of the people. It was a divine endorsement, a message that the heavens themselves approved of the social order. This serene vision of a messenger tied to peace and righteous rule stands in stark contrast to the celestial envoy we encounter next, a being whose arrival was not a blessing of harmony, but a herald of inevitable conflict and the grim price of victory. A lion's royal body merges seamlessly with the head and piercing eyes of an eagle crowned with vast, outspread wings. This is the Griffin, a guardian whose very form is a declaration of sovereignty over both land and sky. Across the myths of ancient Greece, Persia, and the vast Scythian steppes, this majestic hybrid was far more than a simple monster. It served as a divine messenger of power, a living emblem of the unbreakable bond between earthly strength and celestial perspective. Their legendary role as protectors of gold in remote, mountainous lands was not mere greed but a sacred duty. The gold they guarded was often considered a divine substance, and by protecting it, the Griffin communicated that true power and wealth were under the vigilant watch of higher forces, not to be taken lightly by mortals. This protective function extended to sacred sites and royal palaces, where their carved images stood as silent sentinels, signifying that the location enjoyed divine favor and authority. How does a guardian figure also function effectively as a messenger? The answer lies in the unique trust placed in a protector. A message of utmost importance requires a courier of impeccable loyalty and formidable strength, one who can ensure the words reach their destination untainted and unchallenged. In some epic tales, griffins are harnessed to pull the chariots of gods or heroes, carrying them across the boundaries between worlds. In this role, they become active intermediaries in the most profound journeys, their dual nature allowing them to navigate the moral landscape with the courage of a lion and the lofty foresight of an eagle. They embody the ideal that a true messenger must be both grounded and visionary, capable of fierce defense and graceful ascent. This powerful synthesis of traits, guarding the sacred while bridging realms, prepares us for a messenger whose connection is not to gold or temples, but to the most intimate part of a person, the eternal soul. A human head rests upon the body of a small, restless bird, its form captured in hieroglyphs and tomb paintings as it hovers near the silent lips of the departed. This is the Ba, one of the most intimate and personal messengers ever conceived. In the intricate spiritual landscape of ancient Egypt, the Ba was not a god or a monster, but the unique personality and soul of an individual. It was the sum of everything that made a person who they were, their character, their memories, their very essence. Upon the body's final rest, the Ba was believed to be released, taking flight from the burial chamber to navigate the perilous geography of the afterlife. Its journey was a crucial communication mission. Guided by the sacred spells in texts like the Book of the Dead, it would seek out the gods of the underworld, plead its case before the divine tribunal, and ultimately strive to be reunited with its other spiritual components for a transformed, eternal life. Art from this era consistently shows the Ba bird hovering protectively over the mummified body or perched delicately upon the tomb, a poignant symbol that death was not an end, but a change of state, and that the connection between the living and the departed remained unbroken. The Ba was a messenger tasked with its own salvation, carrying the record of a single life into the halls of eternity. What does this belief in a soul bird reveal about ancient perspectives on consciousness? It suggests a sophisticated understanding that identity is not merely physical, but is a dynamic, separable force capable of movement, dialogue, and renewal. The Ba embodies the hope that our deepest self is not confined to one lifetime or one realm, but is a traveler between worlds, eternally communicating the story of who we are. This profound focus on the individual soul stands in stark contrast to the next celestial envoy, a messenger whose purpose was to unite an entire community under a single, sacred symbol. Within the quiet halls of a medieval infirmary, a bird of purest white sits perched beside a sict. This is the Caladrius, a creature of Roman and later European lore, whose very presence was a form of divine diagnosis. More than a mere animal, it was seen as a living instrument of celestial will, a messenger whose silent actions could foretell life or death. According to bestiaries and medical texts of the era, the Caladrius possessed a miraculous ability to draw illness directly from a human body into its own. After absorbing the sickness, the bird would fly straight toward the sun, and as it ascended, the malady would burn away in the pure light, leaving the patient healed. Yet its most profound role was as a seer. If the Caladrius turned its gaze away from the afflicted person, it was an unspoken message that the condition was beyond healing, a quiet preparation for an inevitable outcome. But if it looked directly upon the patient, it signaled a coming recovery, offering a powerful, tangible hope in an age where medicine was often guesswork. How might a creature that predicts health outcomes shape attitudes toward illness? The Caladrius transformed the terrifying uncertainty of disease into a form of communication. It provided a clear, if difficult, answer where there was none, framing health and hardship not as random events, but as part of a decipherable dialogue with the divine. This was not a cold prognosis, but a merciful one, offering clarity that allowed for spiritual preparation and acceptance. Its legend deeply influenced medieval symbolism, appearing in heraldry and religious art as an emblem of Christ's compassion, cleansing humanity of its spiritual infirmities. The Caladrius teaches us that some messengers do not carry words or objects, but instead transmit meaning through silent, sacred observation, interpreting fate itself for those caught in its current. The profound silence of this healing messenger gives way to our next being, whose power was expressed not in a quiet gaze, but in a melody of unforgettable beauty. Her voice is not a melody but a balm for the soul, a song that can erase grief and replace it with visions of a timeless paradise. This is the Alkonost, a being of Slavic myth whose form unites the head of a serene woman with the body of a magnificent bird. She dwells in the otherworld, in the celestial realms beyond the sun, yet she descends to the mortal world during pivotal moments of the year, particularly around the holiday of the summer solstice. Her arrival is not a command or a warning, but a gentle delivery of joy and profound consolation. One of her most poetic legends describes how she lays her enchanted eggs upon a secluded seashore. Instead of letting them hatch on land, she carefully rolls them into the quiet sea, and this sacred act brings 7 days of perfectly calm weather. This is far more than a weather myth. It is a powerful metaphor for her ability to soothe the turbulent emotions within a human heart, to still the inner storms of sorrow and longing. Why would a culture envision a divine messenger whose primary tool is a beautiful song? The Alkonost represents the profound understanding that some of the most important messages are not conveyed through words or decrees, but through art and pure emotional resonance. She communicates a sense of peace, a reminder of beauty, and the promise of rest that exists beyond daily hardship. Her dual nature, offering immense comfort while remaining eternally elusive and separate from our world, highlights the beautiful complexity of how cultures perceive divine contact. It suggests that the most healing truths are not always explained, but are instead felt and experienced directly. This vision of a messenger who operates through transcendent art sets a poignant stage for our final celestial envoy, a being whose song was not one of comfort, but of chilling and unavoidable prophecy. Their wings beat with a sudden, violent gust that smells of salt and decay, carrying the face of a woman twisted by a sacred and terrible purpose. These are the Harpies, whose very name means snatchers, and they represent the most brutal form of celestial diplomacy. In the myths of ancient Greece and Rome, they were not guides or comforters, but the gods' enforcers, dispatched to deliver a message of retribution through direct, humiliating action. Their most famous story involves the blinded prophet King Phineas, whom they tormented for his transgressions. Whenever a meal was set before him, the Harpies would swoop down from the sky, snatching the food from his very lips and defiling what little remained. This was not a random punishment, but a meticulously cruel communication. The message was one of absolute powerlessness and the inescapable nature of a fate decreed by the gods. They served as a stark reminder that divine will could be as much about enforcement as it was about inspiration, and that humanity's vulnerabilities were always subject to celestial scrutiny. How does a culture reconcile such fearsome beings with the concept of divine order? The Harpies introduce a necessary moral ambiguity into the narrative of sky messengers. They teach that not all truths from above are pleasant, and that some lessons about hubris and consequence must be delivered with an undeniable, terrifying force. Later poets and scholars would sometimes soften their image, reinterpreting them as spirits of the whirlwind or agents of sudden, transformative change. This evolution shows how even the most terrifying messengers can be re-understood over time, their roles shifting as a society's relationship with the divine becomes more complex. The Harpy challenges us to accept that the cosmos speaks in many voices, and that the wind which carries a seed of hope can also, without warning, become the storm that strips the branches bare. With this formidable portrait of a messenger as punisher, our journey through the 20 legendary sky beings reaches its conclusion, but a deeper mystery now waits to be unraveled. These 20 celestial envoys, from the nurturing Simurgh to the punishing Harpies, form a chorus of voices from the clouds. Though their stories span continents and centuries, they speak in a shared symbolic language. One of the most striking patterns is their hybrid nature. They are rarely just birds or just people. The feathered serpent unites earth and sky, the Griffin masters land and air, and the Tengu blends human intelligence with avian freedom. This physical fusion is a direct message in itself, a declaration that true intermediaries must be capable of integrating different worlds and perspectives. They are living bridges, their very forms illustrating the connection they facilitate between the divine and the mortal, the known and the unknowable. On a deeper level, these beings function as powerful psychological archetypes, external representations of our own inner struggles and virtues. The Valkyries are not just choosers of the slain, they are the embodiment of our own courage in the face of destiny. The Caladrius is not merely a healing bird, it is the manifestation of our hope for recovery and our need for clarity in times of hardship. The Simurgh is the ultimate mentor, a symbol of the integrated wisdom we all strive to achieve. By projecting these qualities onto celestial messengers, Ancient cultures gave them a face and a story, making complex inner battles more comprehensible and manageable. These myths also served as the first scientific models, offering explanations for the powerful, often frightening forces of nature. The Thunderbird was not just a story, it was a way to understand and contextualize the terrifying power of a storm, framing it as the action of a conscious, purposeful being rather than a random act of chaos. The Bennu bird's cry heralded the life-giving flood of the Nile, tying a celestial event directly to the survival of an entire civilization. These narratives brought order to a seemingly unpredictable world, transforming natural phenomena into a form of communication from a higher intelligence. The most compelling question arises from this global comparison. Why do cultures with no possible contact, from the frozen north to the equatorial deserts, all imagine winged messengers? The shared human experience of looking upward provides a clue. The sky is the one universal frontier, the domain of sun and moon, stars and storms, elements that touch every human life. Wings symbolize a freedom from earthly limitations, the ability to ascend, to gain perspective, to deliver a message with speed and grace. This recurring image points to a fundamental, almost innate, human yearning to believe that we are not alone, that our prayers are heard, and that guidance can descend from the vast unknown to touch our lives directly. The ancient messages carried on these legendary wings are not relics of a forgotten past. They are enduring echoes of our deepest questions about courage, healing, justice, and our place in the cosmos. Their stories remind us that the human desire to connect with something greater than ourselves is itself a timeless and universal force. From Garuda's golden wings to the Harpies' swift justice, our journey reveals a profound truth echoing across time. These 20 celestial envoys, though separated by vast oceans and centuries, were all answering the same fundamental human call. Each civilization looked to the boundless sky and saw not an empty expanse, but a living canvas for communication. Whether as a bridge between realms, a deliverer of divine will, or a symbol of our deepest values, these messengers gave a voice to the mysteries of existence. The specific form they took was a mirror of the world below. The life-giving Nile found its herald in the Bennu bird, while the formidable storms of the Great Plains were given purpose in the Thunderbird. The Norse ideal of courageous destiny was personified by the Valkyries, and the Japanese reverence for harmonious rule was embodied by the serene Hau. This beautiful diversity shows how our universal questions were woven from the local threads of landscape, climate, and belief. The legacy of these sky beings is far from a forgotten whisper. It lives on in the modern angel, a being of comfort and guidance that still carries the familiar silhouette of wings. It resonates in our very language when we speak of a sudden flash of inspiration, a concept named for the divine breath these messengers were thought to carry. It even shapes our gaze toward the stars, as the ancient hope for a visitor from above finds new expression in our stories of extraterrestrial contact. These myths are the foundation upon which we continue to build our understanding of the unseen. Which of these 20 legendary messengers spoke to you most deeply? Was it the nurturing wisdom of the Simurgh, the liberating speed of Pegasus, or the comforting song of the Alkonost? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I am truly curious to hear which story resonated with you. If you enjoyed this exploration of the divine voices that once echoed from the heavens, be sure to subscribe for more journeys into the heart of historical mysteries and mythology. Thank you for watching.